Well, Jake Tapper all of a sudden developed a conscience, and this was certainly not for financial gain, publishing a book telling all about the Joe Biden mental decline cover-up, and he revealed something utterly shocking that you are about to see in this clip I'm about to show you. Also, President Trump just signed a historic executive order and dealt a major blow that Big Pharma is already pushing back on him for, slashing drug prices up to 90%, making them more affordable for Americans. The White House put out a video that is going viral of all of the prominent Democrats, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Amy Klobuchar, Liz Warren, AOC, all of them, grandstanding for years about how Big Pharma is ripping the American people off, yet nothing ever got done about it. It ends with President Trump and RFK Jr. exposing all of them as bought and paid for politicians who were getting rich off this system. Bad day for Democrats. You're going to want to see this. I'm Zach Costello.
Here in America, it will not surprise you to know that we pay the highest prescription drug prices of any developed nation in the world.
UK, $41. United States of America, $424.
They're probably not as cheap as they should be or could be.
Why are the pharmaceutical companies charging double what they are in other countries for the drugs that her kids need to stay alive?
Found that the manufacturers set the price solely to jack up profits with no regard for whether families would be able to afford it. So it's time for government to step in on the side of the American people to stop this extortion.
There is no reason for a drug as simple as insulin, which costs $21 in Canada for a 10 milliliter bottle, to cost the equivalent of a mortgage payment or sometimes 2 mortgage payments.
The Democrats are the ones that allowed this to happen. They were the ones that were the protector of this pricing system.
This typical politician behavior is what the American people are so sick and tired of. This type of grandstanding and never delivering is precisely why we don't trust members of Congress. They are all bought and paid for. This is what makes Trump different. Listen to this RFK Jr. clip from the press conference about this yesterday. This pumped me up. Watch.
This is an extraordinary day. This is an issue that, I grew up in the Democratic Party, and every major Democratic leader for 20 years has been making this promise to the American people. This was the fulcrum of Bernie Sanders' runs for presidency, that he was going to eliminate this discrepancy between Europe and the United States. But as it turns out, none of them were doing it. It's one of these promises that politicians make to their constituents, knowing that they'll never have to do it. And the reason they'll never have to do it is because they know that Congress is controlled in so many ways by the pharmaceutical industry. There's at least one pharmaceutical lobbyist for every congressman, every senator on Capitol Hill, and every member of the Supreme Court. By some estimates, 3. Pharmaceutical companies, the industry itself, spends 3 times what the next largest lobbyist spends on lobbying. So this was an issue that people talked about, but nobody wanted to do anything because it was radioactive. They knew you couldn't get it by Congress. We now have a president who is a man of his word, who has the courage. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million. Yeah. But he can't be bought, unlike most of the politicians in this country. And he is standing here for the American people. I don't know what, there's writers like Lord Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich who are saying that President Trump is on this side of the oligarchs. There has never been a president more willing to stand up to the oligarchs than President Donald Trump. And I'm very, very proud of you, Mr. President, for your courage, I'll say, because I don't want to be crude, your intestinal fortitude, your stiff spine, and your willingness to stand up for the American people.
He cannot be bought. And if you don't know, intestinal fortitude and a stiff spine means having the balls to stand up to special interests and actually do something on behalf of the American people. Funny, not one of these Democrats has come out to commend Trump for doing this. They don't care about you. They care about themselves and keeping power and getting rich, which leads us to Joe Biden. Jake Tapper reveals here what the White House doctor was warning about Joe Biden's deteriorating health. This is insane. And the fact that this was covered up, well, you watch for yourself.
I'm curious about what his advisors were saying at the time as you look at this, as you reported out this book?
So the White House physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, was telling White House aides that President Biden's deterioration of his spine, the degeneration, was so significant that if he fell one more time, that he might have to be in a wheelchair and serve in a wheelchair for his second term. But everybody pushed off the notion that he use a wheelchair until after the election. This is all part of a larger whole where the Biden White House tried to hide the extent of his deterioration, both physical and cognitive, as much as possible. In fact, as we all know, we all saw, as his shuffling gait got worse and worse from 2003 to 2004, they started putting aides around him as he walked to Marine One, the helicopter. That was to kind of hide from public view how bad his gait was, how bad his walking was, his shuffling, and also in case he stumbled again to make sure somebody was there. And this is just of a piece of an overall campaign to try to conceal from the American people the extent to which the president was really struggling to do his job.
You see what they're doing. The blame is being put on the White House and Joe Biden here. They are throwing him under the bus. We cannot let the media off the hook here either. They are playing victim. All of us over here in the alternative and truth-telling media land, we all knew this. We all saw it. We were all talking about it. And you all, they all, pushed it off as not true, called it another conspiracy theory. I'm Zach Costello.